My name is Edward and this is Fast News of the Day. Before I start, I would like to make an announcement. My last video has been age restricted due to the graphic content of the execution scenes of Ukrainian soldiers. If you want to stay updated and know about new videos, be sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on all notifications using the bell icon. That's all. Let's go with the content. 1. A household power plant for every resident in Ukraine. Ukraine is taking steps towards energy independence by introducing household power plants. The cooperation between Canada and Ukraine is expected to lead to a complete detachment from Russian nuclear fuel, with Ukraine taking over production themselves. The Ukrainian energy company, Energoatom, has already signed an agreement with Canadian company Sameso, which the Prime Minister, Smyhal, has described as groundbreaking for Ukraine. In addition, Ukraine plans to replace conventional energy blocks destroyed by Russia with 20 small modular reactors, SMRs, and install 200,000 micro-solar power plants in homes across the country. Two. Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan form new oil transit route bypassing Russia. Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan have formed a new transit route for oil that bypasses Russia, marking a significant shift in the region's energy landscape. The Baku-Tbilisi-Cyan pipeline will annually transport 1.5 million tons of oil, with tankers already transporting it since March as part of the agreement. Additionally, Azerbaijan is offering to transport 5 million tons of oil via the Baku-Supsa pipeline, as well as by rail to the ports of Batumi and Poti. In related news, experts from the White House on sanctions recently visited Kazakhstan in April, with unofficial reports suggesting their aim was to prevent the circumvention of sanctions on Russian resources. 3. Squatters occupy renovated apartment in Cádiz, Spain, and attack owner. A man who was renovating his apartment has discovered that 4 squatters have occupied it. When he attempted to enter the apartment through a window, he was stabbed and struck with an axe. Spanish law has been criticized for being lenient on squatters who break into and occupy properties that have been left unoccupied for more than 48 hours. This has become a common occurrence, especially among migrants. 4. Macron's statement on US alliance and One China policy. Further news on the tensions between the United States and Europe that I mentioned in yesterday's video. French President Macron, during a joint press conference with the Dutch Prime Minister, stated that being an ally of the United States does not mean being their vassal. He emphasized that France supports maintaining the status quo around Taiwan, and this is the European position. However, he also added that Paris supports the One China policy and a peaceful solution. He emphasized the need to prevent further tensions in the region and stated that France does not need to take lessons from anyone regarding Taiwan, Ukraine, or the Sahel. During the first visit of a French president to the Netherlands in 23 years, France and the Netherlands approved deepening cooperation in energy, transport, innovation, and agriculture. 5. Leak of Pentagon documents traced to young military enthusiast. In the latest news regarding the Pentagon document leak, which I reported on in my video on April 11th, US authorities have identified the person responsible as a military base employee, according to the Washington Post. The suspected culprit is said to be a young, charismatic enthusiast of weapons, who shared the document with an online group of friends, including Ukrainians and Russians. The individual is not believed to be hostile towards the US, but rather was boasting about having access to classified information.
He had disagreed with several occasions such as Waco and Ruby Ridge, and thought that the government is overreaching in several aspects.
6. Death of Russian blogger and Putin loyalist Eduard Bagirov. In Russia, the well-known blogger, propagandist and Putin's confidant in the 2012 elections, Eduard Bagirov, has passed away. He was also the mastermind behind the riots in Moldova, for which he was convicted in absentia by the local court. According to sources, the cause of his death was organ failure. 7. Hungary quits Russian bank due to US sanctions. Hungary has abandoned a Russian bank in Budapest due to US sanctions which ruined it, according to Prime Minister Viktor Orban. The US had imposed new sanctions on the International Investment Bank, including on 3 of its top officials, 2 Russians and a Hungarian. Hungary would comply with sanctions against Russia, but continue to speak out against them, Orban said. The move comes as relations between Budapest and Washington have soured in recent months, due to Hungary's foot-dragging over the ratification of Sweden's and Finland's NATO accession. The Hungarian government spokesman has not replied to requests for comment on a report that US Congress was drafting further sanctions targeting leading Hungarian political figures tied to the Orban government. Extra. Do you know how a cloud looks like from the inside? To wrap up, I'd like to show you a skydive through a cumulonimbus cloud by a Polish army paratrooper. Thank you for your attention. See you tomorrow. Bye.